Personal log, Celestial Date 218.243.11. Mainframe and I are on our way back to Deadrock. It turns out that Brennan Shelton, who was the patrol officer that I thought was potentially an ally and friendly, he seems to be up to no good. Maybe he's working for the Shattered Federation. In any case, he seems to be a thief because he's taken millions of credits from the Universal Stars. Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is Starforged Alpha Cluster. We are with Krista Sutton, or Jackpot, our main character. In the last episode, we managed to get from Mu Omicron with that weird obelisk that attacked us at the end to the system that has Mira in it and the settlement of Rec, which has thousands of people and is a hub for the Weave, which we haven't really gotten into. We haven't needed to interact with the Weave structure other than using communications. But we got there looking for the headquarters of the Universal Stars, which are in the Constellation Corporation building. We met a secretary basically named Kiri, who refused to let us see Arnav, the guy who runs the Universal Stars, and is the one who would be able to give us access to the passphrase. It turns out that the Universal Stars are out of money. They're in debt because they have had 9 million credits stolen from them by none other than Brennan Shelton, who is the guy in Deadrock that we rescued and then basically told us he wanted nothing to do with us. And now we're starting to suspect that not only did he just refuse the connection, but he may have been working at cross purposes with Krista. He might be in league with the Federation. He may be the one who sent the Federation to Wellspring. Maybe they followed her. Maybe he heard from Dash that Krista was going to Wellspring. One way or another, he has apparently been playing us the fool. And so, after a bunch of moves designed to try and wheedle the passphrase out of Kiri and Arnav, we ended up swearing another Iron Vow. This is a fairly easy one, and we've got one piece of the vow, and that piece is that we found out who took the money. So now we have to find out where it is. Does he have it on him, or did he wire it somewhere else? And either bring the person who stole the money to justice or get the money back. So getting the money back may be difficult if it went to the Shattered Federation, but we may be able to get, if we know where the money is, maybe that's enough to get us the passphrase. So we'll have to see what happens. The first thing they've got to do, though, is go and confront our old buddy, Brennan Shelton. So Krista and Mainframe, who were at a computer station sitting in the Constellation Corporation computer lab, they get up and they say goodbye to Kiri, and then they are going to head out and go back to the Stormswept, where they are going to take off and fly back to Deadrock. So I don't think there's any need to do any complicated narration. This is a known passage. All of these hexes are known by Krista, so it's a known drift, and she is just going to set a course. So they take off and they fly back to Deadrock. So let's set a course for Deadrock. Interesting. They've changed this format. So you can. So I guess what this is, let's take a look. You can post to chat, I see, in case you want to just have the text, or you can roll it. And we're rolling supply. We have 5 supply. We get a strong hit. So we reach our destination. We can't take +1 momentum because we have 10 momentum. She's got the momentum. She knows where she wants to go and what she wants to do. And if she gets this information and she fixes this problem, then she's going to be able to get through the defense network, or whatever the outer defenses of the Shattered Federation's base, wherever that is, whatever that is here, whether it's a derelict or what, we don't know. So we land, we get to Deadrock, we go through the atmosphere. Jackpot calling Deadrock station. I'm back and I'd like to land, and they allow her to do it. There's no need to compel or anything here. She's been here before, and they land, and Krista and Mainframe get out. And Krista says, now we have to see if we can find Brennan, and I want to go check in with my buddy Dash. So let's go. And she goes to the cantina, and she brings Mainframe to the cantina, and Dash knows Mainframe as well, so he greets both of them. And so the question is, whether Dash knows where Brennan is. And then, of course, whether he'll tell her or not. So Krista says, so listen, Dash, as you know, I saved Shelton's life a few days ago, and I need to ask him some questions. Do you know where he is right now? And so is this a compel move, or is this gather information? Secure an advantage. I think this is securing an advantage. So she's taking a preparation, she's preparing to go find him. So I guess she's going to do it with sociability, right? So she buys Mainframe a drink, she buys herself a drink, she gives Dash a tip with her newly loaded credits card, and she's going to secure an advantage with plus art. And we get a miss. Let's burn momentum and get a strong hit. And we get +2 momentum for that. And we get +1 on our next move. So he does know where Shelton is. So the question is, we know Shelton goes on patrols and stuff. Is Shelton here on the station, or is he out in space? So I don't know. Let's ask the Oracle. I think, I mean, I 50-50. I have no particular reason for believing he's on the station. Actually, I think it's unlikely that he's on the station, right? He flies patrols around the sector. He was on Dead Rock Station the last time we were here, which means it's probably more likely he's not going to be here now, because if he was here a few days ago, he should be on patrol now. Maybe. Let's say it's unlikely that he's actually on the station. And we get, no, he's not on the station. So is he on the station? No. So he is on patrol in space. So we get specific, right? Actionable. So all right. So let's gather information now. Where is he in space? We get +1 on this. So, all right, he's in space, he's on patrol. Do you know what his patrol route is? Or let's say this. He tells us how long it's been since Shelton left. And then I think what Chris is going to do is go to the dockmaster, who she also kind of knows, and she's going to ask the dockmaster, what's the normal patrol route? And I think this is actually going to be a compel, because he's going to say, well, why do you want to know that? And she's going to say, well, I've got something really urgent I need to talk to him about. And I can't seem to raise him on his communicators, and I'm actually worried that maybe the Shattered Federation got to him because they attacked me. And he's a friend of mine. She's kind of lying a little bit. So this is going to be Shadow, right? Because she's lying. And she's pretending she's trying to help him. And she says, look, I've got a ship, and this guy Mainframe here is going to help me, and we want to go look at it. And I need to talk to him anyway, so I figure just tell me where he is, and I'll see if I can go find him and make sure he's okay. So she's lying, but we get +1 because of the secured advantage, because we got enough information from Dash to make this a believable request. Right? Look, I know he left about 4 days ago. Can you tell me where in 4 days he would be? Give me a region of space where he would be so that I can go search it. And we'll roll Shadow. Let's see what happens. We get a miss. So he's going to say, I'm sorry, I can't give out that information. And now he's suspicious of her. So let's take a look at Pay the Price and see, and I'll bring you back. He's going to act against her. When she walks away, she's not going to see this. He's going to radio Shelton and say, hey, Shelton, that girl who saved your life in the mine, she's looking for you. She says she wants to find you because she thinks you're in trouble and she couldn't raise you on her communicator. Over. And Shelton answers back and he says, nobody's tried to raise me on the weave. And so the dockmaster says, well, something's going on. I think she might be trying to find you. You'd better be on your guard. So now Shelton knows she's looking for him. Meanwhile, Chris is going to say, well, let's see if we can figure out. So, how could they figure out where he is? Well, they need to also find out where the money went, right? So, maybe they don't need to find him. Maybe since he's not here, maybe they can break into his office. So this is going to be dangerous because, right, this would be like the security offices. Now, again, we've maintained that Dead Rock, because it's a small community, doesn't have a bunch of security officers. He's pretty much the only one. So when he's not there, there's not going to be anybody on guard, right? But it's still going to be locked, and there'll be an alarm set, and so she's going to have to get in there. But she's got mainframe with her. So I think the first thing she's going to do is go to the map section and look for where the security office is. And she figures it out, and she says, okay, this is where the security office is. So now what we need to do is see what kind of security they have there. So she's going to head over there, and she's going to kind of she and mainframe split up with the plan of they're going to each like walk past it and come back. So she looks at the map, and I think we're going to secure an advantage here, right? She's going to look at the map and see if she can figure out, okay, we're here, right? Here's the dock. Where would we need to be going and then coming back so that we can walk past this twice without it being suspicious? So she says, well, I need some more clips of slugs, and the general store is right here, and they sell them. So I'm going to go get those. And she says to mainframe, the electronics store is over here, and you'd have to walk past it to go there too. So what we'll do is I'm going to go buy some slugs and come back. You go to the electronics store, buy a little something, and come back. And this allows us to walk past the security 4 times, twice each, and we're going to look and see if we can see anything that gives us a hint of how we might be able to break in there. And just keep an eye on what's around. So I think we're going to secure an advantage, and I think this is, unfortunately, well, I don't know if it's stealth. This is observation, I think, right? Because they're not trying to sneak. She's walking right on past it and just looking at it the way you would look past the store as you walk in the mall, right? So I don't think it's stealth. I think this is just observation. So we're rolling wits. No bonus for mainframe because he's a hacker. He is not somebody he breaks into computer systems, not actual offices. So he won't help her here. So rolling wits, see what we get. We get a weak hit. So I think we'll take the momentum. And that means if she has momentum from this, that she saw something that maybe will let her in. So let's go to the Oracle and roll descriptor and focus and see if that gives me an idea. So it's a toxic atmosphere. That doesn't make any sense at all. Well, wait a minute. Toxic. So, yes. So she sees, not toxic, but she sees some canisters. If she sort of like, as she walks by, there's a window, and she looks up, and she sees gas canisters. And she sees a wire coming down from there that's maybe not supposed to be visible, but it's a little bit in disrepair, and it's coming down toward the door. And when she gets back, she says, look, I think they've got knockout gas, right? Something like chloroform or whatever, that when you open the door, it's going to spew knockout gas. So if we wear our environmental suits, we should be able to get in there no problem. Now, Mainframe says, yeah, but what's the excuse for walking around here in our environmental suits? And she, well, it's Cinder, right? Suppose we go outside for something and then come back and we're just still wearing our environmental suits, right? We could just carry our helmets. We could just wear the suits with our helmets off and just carry our helmets and just say we want to go get drinks or whatever. And if anybody sees us, and well, we're going back out. So he says, okay, well, I guess we could do that. That kind of makes sense. And so what they're going to decide to do is wait until late at night, and they're going to take the storm swept out. They're going to head back to the mine, but not really do anything there. They're just going to like stay there, and then they're going to come back, and then they're going to land on the in the docking station like late at night, 11 o'clock at night, 2300 hours, when people are mostly sleeping. There's still a like backup dock master there who lets them in, and they're still wearing their environmental suits. And he says, "What are you doing?" Well, we're going to have to go back out, and so I guess I guess we're going to have to face danger with a lie here, right? So the dock master is the dock master even going to ask about this, or does he care? Is he not paying attention? I don't know. So let's. I think it's likely that they're going to be questioned. Why are you wearing your environmental suits in here? Are they questioned about it? Yes. So she's going to lie, and she's going to say, we have to go back out. There were these magma creatures out there, and I wanted to study them a little bit, but I need, some more supplies. Well, the general store is closed. Yeah, but I left some stuff in my hotel room. Now she doesn't have a hotel room here, so this is a lie. But he doesn't know that, right? She could be staying in the you know the guest quarters, not hotel, but guest quarters. So I got to get my stuff from guest quarters, and then I'm going to head back. So I'm just going to be here real quick. So they're just carrying their helmets under their arms and going. Maybe he finds it suspicious, maybe not. We are going to be rolling shadow here. Let's see if he believes her. And that's a miss. So he says, well, why are you bringing your helmets? This doesn't make any sense. You're not even registered in the guest quarters. What are you doing? So she's been kind of caught. And she says, well, look, what difference does it make? We're just walking in our environmental suits. And he says, why do you need your environmental suits? Are you planning to do some damage to the environmental system here? What's going on? And he sort of blocks her way, and he says, no, I don't think so. I think you can go back to your ship, and you can go back in the morning without your environmental suit. So she and Mainframe have to go back to the Storm Swept. So that didn't work. So now she's going to have to figure out a way to break into that security system without her environmental suit. Can she carry it in some way? Ooh. What about the droid? The droid could go in, trigger the gas, and then if it triggers, and then after the gas dissipates, they could go in if the alarm doesn't go off. I think that's not a bad idea. So what she's going to do is she's going to watch this guy using her ship's cameras. She's going to watch this guy and wait until he falls asleep. And since there's no activity and it's late, he's going to sort of put his feet up, start watching a holovid, and perhaps he'll fall asleep. Does he? I don't know. I think it's likely. I think it's likely that he'll fall asleep. Does he fall asleep? He does. So he falls asleep and he starts snoozing. So now they have to sneak through. So we're going to have to face danger using shadow again. And what she does is she's going to bring Iris with her turned off. And she's going to pretend that Iris is broken and that she's going to bring her Iris to the repair shop if she gets caught. So she and Mainframe are sort of carrying Iris between her and they're going very quietly. So, is there a way we can secure an advantage before we face danger? So let me think about that. Okay, so what Krista's going to do is, before they go anywhere, she's going to use the ship's cameras to scan the entire docking area to see if there's maybe a route they can take that will enable them to not be visible to this dockmaster until right as they go in through the door. So is there maybe behind some cargo boxes or something like that? So she's doing this with observation to see if she can find a path that will give them the most cover so they won't be noticed. Right? And maybe if they go behind cargo boxes and he sees them, she could even like push Iris into the cargo boxes so that Iris isn't seen. She has certainly, under normal circumstances, every right to go into the station. It just looked suspicious when she was doing it with an environmental suit. So we're going to see if we can find a route. Does she find a route? And we get another miss. So her assumptions betray her. So I guess there isn't any route. And let's see, do we need to pay another price? How about this one? I think that signal from the first dockmaster made Brennan Shelton suspicious. So as she's watching, Mainframe taps her on the shoulder and points out the window on the other side of her ship. And she's like, what? And what you see is the docking bay doors open and a small snub fighter ship comes flying in and lands, and this is Shelton's ship. So he got back. So now she's going to have to deal directly with Shelton. And she says, oh, well, okay, I guess we're not going to break into his security office. We can try and talk to him. And Mainframe says, yeah, but what's he doing back? I thought he was going to be on patrol for a while. And Kristen says, well, what difference does it make? He doesn't know why we're here. And Mainframe's a little nervous about this. She says, look, you can stay in the Storm Swept if you want. I'm just going to go talk to him. And Mainframe says, yeah, but if Shelton's the guy who stole from the Universal Stars, what do you think are the odds he's going to just tell you about it? And she says, okay, well, that's fair enough. So we have to figure out how to get him to admit it, because we know it was him. And Mainframe says, well, maybe we should try a different tack. Instead of trying to physically get in there, since he's here now, maybe I can hack into his system using the weave. Now, Mainframe hasn't actually done this yet, right? He's been typing on computers just like Krista does. But remember, he's got a little socket on the back of his head where he can hook into the weave. But he's going to need to get into Deadrock's weave. And so she says, okay, so now we have a different goal. Instead of going to the security station, we need to go to the weave annex, right? So this is like where they receive all the communications and relay it throughout the station and through the system. And it's not the hub like where it is on Rec, but it's like a substation. So are these manned? I think these are not manned. I think only the hubs are manned. So this isn't manned. So what excuse are they going to give? So Mainframe says, here, listen, I think I know what we can do. We can knock out I can put a little computer code into the substation here that kind of messes with it and causes some static and some interference, and then I'll go in and offer to fix it, and that'll let us in. And I'll tell them I need your help. And so she says, okay, well, we better do that in the morning after this suspicious dockmaster leaves, because I don't want him to tell people we were trying to sneak around in our environmental suits. So that's what they decide to do. So what they're going to do tonight is they're going to try to, Mainframe is going to try to go in and insert a small code that just basically causes some interference. Now, this isn't something that he has to be connected for. He's just going to do his hacking. So we're going to face danger here, and that is going to be with wits, and it's going to be +1 um, because mainframe is helping her, and it's his area of expertise. And let's see if they get in. Does he get in? Strong hit. So we get a momentum, and he gets in. He's successful. So he goes in and he implants some code that's going to cause basically static and a little bit of disruption, right? And now what these guys would know is they would have to call Rec and have Rec's adept come in here and fix this, which would kind of disrupt the whole weave for a while, or possibly some technicians or whatever. It's going to take a while. And they might really want to get the help from mainframe since he is an adept, right? So I think this hacking and stuff is another, if we look at developing relationships, right? Sharing a profound moment, leveraging their help in desperate circumstances, standing with them against hardship. We're doing all of that. So I think that's going to complete this track. And so after they're done, Krista gives Mainframe a high five, and maybe she's going to try to hug him, and let's see if he rebuffs her or not. If we get a bunch of 2 zeros, he will rebuff her, right? And say, sorry, I'm still loyal to Echo, right? Not that they're necessarily going to get into romance, but she's going to give him a hug and say, good job. And we get a strong hit. So we have forged a bond. On a strong hit, we now share a bond. Mark a reward on your bond's legacy track. Finally. And he is a dangerous, quote-unquote, rank. So 2 marks. So then choose 1. Bolster their influence when they aid you in a move closely associated with their roll. Add +2 instead of +1. Or expand their influence. Give them a second roll. And they get +1. So do we want to give him a second roll? Let's look at his information and see what it says about him. So he's an adept. He's a technician. Well, he's also a scavenger, so I'm going to give him a second roll. Of derelicts and vaults. So, well, I mean, a scavenger, I think that's fine. You know, he's a scavenger. So I'm going to scavenger, and in particular for electronics, computers, etc., things like that he's good at. So, so he's going to be +1 to both of those when she's making moves. So mainframe is now a bond. I guess we mark him completed. I don't know what that does in terms of it doesn't remove it, which is interesting. So we now have a bond with mainframe. That's our first bond, guys. And the two of them are then going to head into Dead Rock in the morning. And as they walk past some of like the screens that they have that are showing like the news in the dock port, you know, like how you have CNN in the airport, the docking station, the waiting area for like shuttles and stuff. It's all sort of flickery. It's flickering in and out, snow, you know, wavy lines, and people are grumbling about it. And so Mainframe and Krista stop them and say, hey, what's going on with the weave? Oh, you know, our weave substation must be down. Something's wrong. We're not getting signal. So, so Krista says, okay, well, so all right, so I know what she's going to do. She's going to go to Dash, right? And she's going to say to Dash, so and you know, in the bar, the screen, the TV screen or whatever, the monitor over the bar is doing the same thing. She says to Dash, "What's going on with the monitor?" And he says, "Well, yeah, we're getting terrible signal. There must be something wrong with our weave substation." And Mainframe says, "Hey, anything I can do to help? Should I look at it?" And Dash says, "Oh man, that'd be great if you could do that. Go talk to," and he gives him the name of the guy who's like their head technician. And so Krista and Mainframe go and find his office, and they ask, and this is going to be a compel move, right? Where Krista's going to say, "Hey, listen, my friend Mainframe here is he's an adept. He used to actually work for the Shattered Federation, and we saw that we were in the cantina, and we saw that your weave is kind of screwing up. I think he can fix it." And so she's going to be, is this, I think this is lying and swindling. I hate to keep rolling shadow here, guys, but I think she's lying, right? Well, I mean, it's not lying. He can fix it, and it is kind of down. So here's what I think we're going to do. We're going to roll shadow, but we're going to give a bonus to us for Mainframe, because Mainframe is going to start spewing out a bunch of technical stuff about, well, based on the way it's looking on the cameras, on the monitors, I think your weave has this problem. He starts like blathering out the stuff about the conduits and the tachyons, to use a Star Trek term, and so on and so forth. And if you let me in there and let me plug in, I can probably fix it in a matter of like less than an hour. So I think we're going to roll shadow, but we're going to add 1 because he gave her a bunch of technobabble to try and support her. How do we do? We get a weak hit. So they're agreeing, but their agreement comes with a demand or a complication. So what's their counter offer? So he's going to say, "I'll let you do it, but what does he want?" Let's try rolling a goal for this character. Let's make him up. Let me make him up, and I'll bring you guys back. All right, so we got a cool name. This is a guy named Quinn Archer, who, on first look, is shifty and youthful. And what's his disposition here? His disposition is suspicious, so he's a little suspicious of them. Okay. That they would just show up at the right time to fix this. His goal is to build a relationship. Okay. And one revealed aspect in talking to him is that he's remorseful. Okay, so I think this guy... This guy is suspicious of them, but... So I think... So here's what I think he's going to say. He hasn't been doing his job. Okay? And he knows this. And what Quinn's going to say is, all right, look, when you get in there, you're going to see that it hasn't been maintained properly because I've been busy trying to court this girl over in the mining camp. And so I think Quinn is an astral, but he's in love with a miner, right? A female miner of the lower class. So it's Romeo and Juliet, right? And he's been trying to woo this girl, and it's distracted him. He's youthful, right? And he's remorseful that he hasn't been doing his job properly, and he doesn't want anybody to find out. So he says, "I'll let you do it, but you're going to say I did it. You're not going to tell anybody you did it, and you're not going to ask for any pay." Now, what he doesn't know is Krista's perfectly happy to agree to this because she doesn't want anybody to know they're in here, right? But so she says reluctantly, she says, "Oh, all right. I suppose we can agree to that. Um, we're a little short on cash, uh, but look, I'll help you out. I don't want to get in the way of young love. And Mainframe just kind of looks at her because Krista's not that old either, right? I picture her being like 22. Um, but he says okay, and so he's going to let them in, and uh, so Mainframe says, look, I'm going to need to be alone. This is my assistant. I need Krista to assist me with a few things after I plug in, but please leave us alone because any distractions, any disturbances in the room, Krista knows how not to disturb me, but any disturbances in the room are going to kind of interfere. So just leave us alone. And the guy says, that's fine, because remember, he wants to go woo Juliet. He's not interested in actually doing his job here. So they go into the room, and it's basically just a chair, like a kind of a reclining chair that he sits in, and there's a helmet, and Krista helps him put the helmet on, and he lowers it over his head, and all of these holographic screens come up around him that have all of these uninterpretable symbols. Kind of almost like the Matrix, right? With all these different, well, maybe not, maybe ones and zeros, right? And he plugs his fingers into these finger holes in the arms of the chair, and Krista just watches, and his eyes kind of roll up into his head, and he closes his eyes, and then he merges with the computer, right? And he starts to become kind of the CPU of the computer, and he starts going in and undoing. He waits to undo what he did to the weave, because the first thing he's trying to do is follow the traces of the weave and figure out where the um, where the money went. Like, did it go into Shelton's account and stay there, or did it go somewhere else? So this is going to be a gather information roll, and I'm going to roll Krista's, right, because she's the character, and we're going to add Mainframe's hacking ability, right, because he is a hacker. We got 8 momentum, so we can hope, and we roll. Weak hit. Okay. He provides a new insight, but complicates the quest. And I think, well, let's roll story clue and let's see what it says. But I think I know what's going to happen here. So, leads to a notable or central place. Okay, yeah. The notable place is the Shattered Federation. So, I think the obvious thing is the money isn't here. The money isn't in Shelton's account. It went to the Shattered Federation. They have it. Okay. So, we now know, right, where the money went, and that the Shattered Federation now has 9 million credits. And so the question is there a way for Mainframe to get it back? I think that's possible in the weave. Can he reverse the transaction? Can he like, he's found it. He's found the account. Is there some way he can reverse the transaction? I think so. So he pulls out, like, he opens his eyes, and he's still got the helmet on, and he's talking in this sort of very weird monotone voice, and he says, well, it's about as bad as it can be. The Shattered Federation has the money in their account. Shelton wired it to them over the weave. Let's see. 2 days ago. And Chris is going to say, is there any way to get it back? And he's going to say, well, maybe, but there's a danger, right? If I go in there and start mucking around with it, they're going to know. They could find out what happened, and that could make it really hard for us to disrupt the Weave Adept of the Shattered Federation, and it may also make it harder for us to get into their base. So Chris is going to say, so is there anything we can do to cover up what you're doing. And he says, well, I could make it look like this is coming from a different substation like Relics or Brinks. And then they would have no idea what the heck is going on. So, I think we're going to secure an advantage. And this is to make it look like it came from another station. And then we're going to face danger if we've secured that advantage, and hopefully it will help us. So this is so hard because I feel like it's deception, but it's also expertise. So let's see. I think we're going to secure advantage with Shadow because they're basically trying to essentially conceal their IP, right? And so they're it's like on Earth when they're like making it look like their IP is in Russia when they're really in the United States and that sort of stuff. So that's what he's trying to do. So I think that's stealth, right? So that's Shadow. And again, it's because it's mainframe doing this, we're going to add 1. And this is Shadow. Almost rolled the wrong thing. And we get an opportunity. +2 momentum and +1 on our next move. And we get an opportunity. So what opportunity are we going to get? Let me roll action and theme and see. Attack war. So he says, I can make this look like a hacking attack from Brink. And like the people on, like somebody on Brink is trying to steal from them. And they won't have any idea that it's us wiring the money back to the Universal Stars. And I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give this a progress. And then if the hack is successful, and we got +1 on it, and we have 10 momentum, if the hack is successful, then we'll get the last piece of progress. I probably should have made this a dangerous vow, but okay. So now we're going to face danger. And again, this is mainframe doing it, and Krista's helping him out as best she can. And I think at this point, I feel like we still need to roll Shadow. As smart as he's being, I feel like we still need to roll Shadow. We get +2 on this because we get +1 from the fact that mainframe can, use his expertise, and +1 from the fact that we just got this here, this opportunity. Oh, and you know what I've been forgetting to do? We're supposed to be taking +1 momentum every time we get a hit with his stuff too, but we've got tons of momentum now, so can't do any more than that. So we're going to face danger. We're rolling Shadow. We got +2. So it's almost like rolling wits, right? And he is trying to now. So what he's going to try to do is steal the money, send the money through Brink's account, somebody's account at Brink, right? And then pull that money out and bring it back to the Universal Stars, to the what is it? The Constellation Corporation. So that's what he's trying to do. So let's roll Shadow and see if he can do it. We get a weak hit. So it succeeds, but not without a cost. So I think it takes a long time to do this, and we lose some momentum. And then he's going to undo what he did and clear up their weave. Right. And meanwhile, the guy's knocking on the door like, what are you doing? You said it was only going to take an hour. It's been almost 2. And Chris is like, we're almost done. We're almost done. Right. So it costs us a little momentum. Right. But we were actually successful at this. So that gives us 10 progress. So they're done. They leave. They're going to head into the Stormswept, and I know it's a long episode, but let's see if we can finish up this vow for once. And they get back into the drift, and they head back to Rick. And they're pretty psyched at this point. And they kind of like share a drink in the mess hall while the Stormswept is flying through the drift. So we're going to set a course. We're going to roll plus supply. And we go back to Rick. And we get a strong hit. Get +1 momentum. So we're back to 10. This is great having all this momentum. And we return to Rick. And they dock again. And they head. And this time, when they land on Rick, they ask for a path through the mine. And I think this time, I'm going to say this is almost certain that this time they're just giving it for free. Yeah. And the reason is basically because they got 9 million credits back now, the Kiri has contacted the dockmaster here and said, we will pay their docking fees from now on. Bill us, right? Put it on our tab. So she asks to be let in, and they're like, sure, and they just let her in, and she's like, okay. And when she gets there, there's nobody waiting to take her credit card. And when she gets back to the office, Kiri is like, well, you did this for us, so I allowed you to land. So now let's make our progress move. And we get a strong hit on fulfilling our vow. So we have fulfilled our vow. And that means that on a strong hit, the vow is fulfilled. And we get 1 tick. Guys, 1 tick is enough to get us 2 more experience. We're going to be able to get our Starship module. We got to fly to Relic to do it. But we're going to be able to get our Starship module. And because we completed a vow for her, we get a little bit more favor in our connection. And she says, you can go and see, what's his name? You can go and see Arnav. And so Kiri is a connection here. She says, you can go and see Arnav. I will let you in. And I will tell him that you did this for us. And they're all excited because I guess the rumor is the Shattered Federation is ticked off at some company on Brink or somebody on Brink that they think stole credits from them. And the credits are back with the faction. So if we look at the Universal Stars, I think their morale is up. We're going to get rid of that rumor. Let's see what projects they have. Let's do a little bit more oracling now. We can learn a little bit more about them. So let's go to factions and we'll create a project. So what are they up to? Obtain important cultural artifact. Okay. So maybe the Shattered Federation stole something else. That's a matter for next episode. Let's roll up another quirk. The work environment causes mutations. That's weird. Let's re-roll that. Distinctive or elaborate clothing. Okay, so they all have some kind of like a team shirt, maybe a company shirt. You know, like when you go to the supermarket and everybody's wearing the shirt for like the brand. So they got like brand shirts for the Constellation Corporation, not for the Universal Stars, right? So they have like these these shirts with collars and buttons down the front, and they've got like a little logo on the pocket, that the breast pocket, and it's got the logo of the Constellation Corporation, kind of like when you have like a college shirt or something like that. And rumors, we have haunted by a dark prophecy. Okay, so I think we're going to combine this. That I think that Arnav. So let's write this down here. Arnav seeks a cultural artifact. I don't know what yet. To save him from the Dark Prophecy. Now, so I don't know what the Dark Prophecy is. We'll find that out when we meet him. But the idea is, there's something bad that's supposed to happen to him, and he wants this. He wants something, some artifact. So we may be doing a quest for him too. We'll see. I think that things are looking pretty good, and we're going to get a module for our ship, which is going to be the Shields module. And we'll probably do that before we go to the Shattered Federation, because the shields will help us with both the Gamma Ray and the Shattered Federation. Wow, that was quite the episode. It went way in directions I didn't expect, but it was pretty cool and very long, so I apologize for that. I hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been Starforged Alpha Cluster.